Now it's been about 25 years in advertising.
Okay.
And books were a constant. In advertising, you're writing, but it's a very different kind of writing where you have to talk to just anyone. You cannot misrepresent, you cannot say anything that is not the truth, it can be misconstrued. So advertising is very different from serious writing. The Dilawari family has a theater company. They had a theater company. So that is the background to all these characters. And naturally, the metaphor it transfers to the characters.
I think the whole setting of Didoli and Four Chimneys, the estate, I feel created also a very powerful atmosphere. I must appreciate that as well. And importantly, the book is deeply philosophical, has these core ideas and core themes which are intense. For example, inherited grief. I mean, how often do we think about that? Relationships, loneliness, suffering, right? And I think the one thing that is such a prominent theme in it, the book so many times asks difficult questions about whether attachment gives meaning to our life.
See, I'll say that you're describing yourself because the reader reads what the reader reads.
How reflective the book is. And taking off from that, the aspect of performance in the book. Everybody's, and in life as well, sometimes knowingly or unknowingly, they're performing in most relationships. Right?
What is important is that in the performance, we don't lose ourselves.
Right.
Right? And how concerned are we about social judgment?
Exists as at least 7 women that I know. So she's not one person. That's one aspect of it. There's someone very senior in advertising who's now retired and who combs her hair like Gargi does. Gargi holds her hairbrush, aloft like that, and she does that like a queen. So that comes from there. Then there's a person who has an alcoholic son, and she once said, "I wish he died." Then there is someone else whose husband, loses his mind. So there are these at least 7 or 8 people, women. There is a theory I have that the truth is not what you see. It is what you'll never know.
Recurring idea in the book has been that attachment leads to suffering. So like the real estate agent even says that if you marry for love, you'll only suffer.
It's so pure and it is so up there. It cannot go higher. Case. It is bound to find occasions to decay. Like a radioactive substance, it will decay.
We are back with an amazing author whom we have had on the podcast previously as well for his book Blood Hive. You can see it back there. A quite interesting cover. And even this one, quite enigmatic. That's what we expect from Shashank whenever he's on the podcast. There is something enigmatic about his narratives. And he has written many books. There's one more back there. I won't like to name the book because quite hot. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
And he has previously been published by, different traditional publishers, HarperCollins, Tara, etc., etc. At one point, I think he had, quite prolific, I must say. And of late, he has been published by Fidessa Literary and from Europe. Yeah. Welcome to the podcast. And Anupama, thank you so much for joining us to give the reader's perspective, ask some questions because she's a journalist. So she'll be grilling you. I'm sure about it. So I can't help that. I don't take responsibility for that. And
no grilling. A very heartfelt conversation about the book as a reader.
She's very kind. She's going to grill you. I'm telling you.
Not at all.
Reading the book was quite interesting. Of course, before that, I know about you, like your background, like you were a farmer back in the day. And then you joined advertising and you lived in Bombay for like 20 odd years. Then in Delhi, you still work, you write as well. What's going on? It's crazy. Nobody, even AI couldn't, predict this kind of trajectory of work. What's going on?
I did my master's in horticulture, and naturally I went on to do my PhD, which I left midway.
Okay.
And my father had this farm, and he was growing old, so I went to the farm and learned whatever I could about farming. So 6 years, I thought I knew enough about farming, and then I said, this is okay. I mean, farming is okay. You grow crops, you cut crops, and that's it. What do I really want to do? I wanted to write. Um, so my father is a very wise person. He was, and he said, okay, go do what you wish to do, because I couldn't do a lot of things in life. So I went to Bombay between crops, and I then refused to return. So my father said, okay, I'll look after the farm, you don't worry. And I joined advertising just like that. And in Bombay, I wasn't there for 20 years. I was there for about 2 years.
2 years.
3 years in Bombay.
Okay.
And then I came to Delhi because to be closer to home as well. My father was growing old. And in Delhi, yeah, now it's been about 25 years in advertising. And books were a constant. In advertising, you're writing, but it's a very different kind of writing where you have to talk to just anyone. You cannot misrepresent, you cannot say anything that is not the truth, which can be misconstrued. So advertising is very different from serious writing. And that I was doing all the while and waiting for someone to say, oh, now you've learned to write. So that's been the process.
I'm going to put that on a shirt, serious writing versus advertising. So that is a true.
Millions of people will try and kill me then.
And you're working in advertising right now. You're jeopardizing your
I'm
career.
working. I'm working for money. Actually, I don't really care about advertising.
I know.
Advertising has been very good to me
Okay.
because it has financed what I love to do.
Right.
No, you cannot write books without money coming in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm grateful that this sort of bank belongs to me.
Absolutely. Great. Hi, Anupama. And what were your first impressions about the book? We roped you in because we know that the book will be in safe hands. What were your first impressions? Because
Thank you so much. Yeah.
This is your first read, right? You haven't read his work before.
No. So first of all, thank you very much, Rohan, for inviting me for this podcast. And Shashank, it's been a pleasure to read the book, and I cannot wait to share my opinion about it. So yes, Four Chimneys. When I first started reading the book, I thought I was entering a story about a family, an old estate, and a fictional town. But very soon I realized that this work was actually about how different people carry emotional weight in different ways. There was so much depth to the book. What I found fascinating was that the characters had so many emotional layers. Like, the characters, I think there's no character in the book that you could say is completely good or completely bad. And each one is fractured in its own way. So I found that layering to be very, very fascinating. I also like the fact that the book did not rush into explaining the characters completely. So as a reader, I found myself changing my opinion about people in the book from scene to scene or chapter to chapter. So there was one moment when I would feel frustration or a negative feeling for a character and seems to be a bad character. And then another moment, my heart would be full of sympathy that here is a broken individual who just needs love and has been suffering. So that contrast is something that stood out. And of course, I think the whole setting of Didoli and Four Chimneys, the estate, I feel created also a very powerful atmosphere. I must appreciate that as well. And importantly, the book is deeply philosophical in so many places. I mean, that is one thing I loved about it personally. Has these core ideas and core themes which are intense. For example, inherited grief. I mean, how often do we think about that? Relationships, loneliness, suffering, right? And I think the one thing that is such a prominent theme in it, the book so many times asks difficult questions about whether attachment gives meaning to our life, or whether attachment ultimately becomes a source of pain for us. And there were so many times when I found myself reflecting over it. That was great. And also, I feel that you have not oversimplified things and you have not sort of forced conclusions on the readers. What I feel is that you let readers make their own conclusions, make their own understanding of how things are about the people. So, overall, I would say that for me, Four Chimneys was a very reflective, a very immersive, and emotionally intelligent book that explored not only what people do, but why we become the way we are. And that was special. So, congratulations on Four Chimneys, Shashank. And the book stayed with me long after I finished reading it. And I think that's one of the best qualities that any book can have. So, yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, I'll say that you're describing yourself because the reader reads what the reader reads.
Absolutely.
I think to be perceptive and to be able to see the layers and to see a philosophy which I may not even have intended. So you are actually describing yourself when you say that the book reflects this and the book
Yes.
reflects that. No, so it's actually the reader who needs to be congratulated on reading deeper meanings.
In fact, the final, statement that Anupama gave should go on the book page because it is so beautiful. Whatever she mentioned, how reflective the book is. And taking off from that, the aspect of performance in the book. Everybody's, and in life as well, sometimes knowingly or unknowingly, we are performing in most relationships, right? That has been explored beautifully. And in different characters, I must say. I won't be revealing the, you know, spoilers because I should. But, this aspect of performance, why did you mention it in the book? Because it's a place where we don't really want to go in life as well. We don't want to admit that we are performing in relationships, right? It
True.
is so tough to be organic and just to be, it's tough. It could be friendships, it could be a spouse, whatever, and this scenario where there are several people attached and related to this property. Yeah. Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, true. See, first of all, the Dilawari family has a theater company. They had a theater company, so that is the background to all these characters, and naturally, the metaphor it transfers to the characters and performance. I mean, that's the way you saw it, but performance is what we do every day of our lives. The cleaning lady comes in, she performs, and we perform, whatever be the relationship, but we perform. And the whole gist, I think, is in the book is about a level of honesty. How do people interact? How do they live? How should husbands and wives and brothers and sisters coexist? And performance seems to be the way we've been taught, and be nice, be well, be all the virtues, no? That's how what civilization is. All the virtues are loaded onto us. And in truth, we may be very different animals. And so Gargi performs. She was an actress, but she performs. Khaiman, the real estate shark, he has to perform because that's his profession.
Hmm.
Sujata, the this stranger who lands up, she performs because she has an agenda. And the biggest performer to me may be the teenage boy
Hmm.
because he comes across as a careless, reckless, carefree character and who doesn't love anybody on earth. But you go to his room and you say it's so well arranged.
It's
Like
proper.
a monk's, yeah, it's like a monk's apartment. So you say suddenly, oh, I didn't know this guy. So everyone and each one of us performs. There's this movie, have you watched Gone Girl?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So Gone Girl is that.
It is. It
So
is.
husband and wife, they have to
Hmm.
act. They say, okay, I've come back to you. Now let's continue acting for the for the audience out there. Yeah. So yeah, we are all performers, and
Now that
that
you
is
mention,
the
now that you mention it, I have to rewatch the movie because I have actually forgotten it because I think it was like back 10 years back or something. So I need to rewatch it because yeah, great. So
Rosamund
that
Pike is
aspect of
very pretty.
I was drawn to the performance aspect because it has become a bane to society because we can't be ourselves mostly and we shouldn't be ourselves totally. But
Yeah, yeah.
the performance has kind of taken over, whether we are on social media or whether we are meeting people or even with family, relatives. I am being myself. I mean, best of luck. It won't work out.
The black sheep. Now
Yes.
you become the black sheep.
Do you have anything, Anupama, do you have anything to add to that in terms of performance and how do you see it in terms of fiction and especially Shashank's fiction?
Sure. So, of course, like you said, performance here was a theme which did have this underlying meaning as well of how people are always performing in their real lives, the same thing that's been discussed here. And my only 2 cents on that would be that I think what is important is that in in the performance, we don't lose ourselves,
Right. True.
right? And how concerned are we about social judgment? Are we so concerned about how we are judged that we just crush our soul? So I think that's where people should draw a fine line between authenticity and performance.
Absolutely. Another great word that she used, authenticity. It's so important right now. That's why I
Yeah.
told Shashank that I love this book more than Blood Hype.
I'm eager to read Blood Hive after having read this one. I
And
enjoyed it.
I have a bias. Like growing up in Dehradun and the kind of writing Shashank has done, it's so close to what we feel as what we have seen sometimes, growing
Mm,
and the things that happen in the hills and the
yeah.
B&Bs, you know the elephant factor,
Yes.
all of that
Absolutely.
seemed very, it was like very natural. Okay, yeah, this can happen, it's easy to, yeah,
There are no elephants at 5,000 feet. No.
I know,
Here we have we have one falling down the hillside,
creative
the
liberty,
slope.
creative liberty.
The freedom that fiction accords.
Yes, cool.
Absolutely.
Anupama, you have
Y-
something more?
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of things that I would love to know from Shashank, so I think I'll just start up. Okay, so a very short answer. When I gave my impression of the book, you said that there could be things that I interpreted as a reader, right? So, what I want to begin with is definitely what stayed with me after finishing the book is the intense emotional atmosphere that the book created. So, did you always know that the book would turn out to be so psychological and layered?
Not at all. I never know what's going to happen. All I knew was that it's a visual. I had this visual, which was one part of the story. And then I met this person, an old lady, and I found something very interesting about her. So what she'd done was she had done exactly what Gargi Gargi ends up doing. She wants to give away. She had a big bungalow in a very posh area, part of Delhi. So she told a real estate guy that okay, I'm towards the end of my life. Now, I can't sit and mope and cry. I want money. I go and gamble every evening. I play cards. I don't gamble. Cards, and I want my drink. Now, can you buy my house? But let me live here till the day I die. After that, it's yours. But give me the money now.
Wow.
So she made the deal. That's one part of the how the story began. The other part is I had the visual of this elephant hurtling down a slope and it blocks the road. So there are two no unconnected events and this is what usually happens. So you have many such events and one day you say okay suddenly it is coming from some core idea and they fall together and what you get is an idea, a concept which ties up everything that you've been dreaming of or thinking of
Hmm.
because you're in that state of mind, no? But you don't know how things are going to turn out. And I had no clue what will happen. I just knew this woman needs money and the elephant has to fall down. And the woman is such and such character, and I can define her. And now let's see what happens.
Nice. I'm so glad you mentioned that because one of my questions which intrigued me was, does Gargi exist somewhere in real life? So that kind of thanks for addressing that in the beginning.
Gargi exists as at least seven women that I know. So she's not one person. That's one aspect of it.
Mm.
There's someone very senior in advertising who's now retired and who combs her hair like Gargi does. Gargi holds her brush, hairbrush, no, aloft like that, and she does that like a queen.
Mm.
So that comes from there. Then there's a person who has an alcoholic son, and she once said, "I wish he died." Then there is someone else whose husband, no, loses his mind. So there are these at least seven or eight
Wow.
people, women, and the whole and
Interesting. It's like
and
Gargi is the phoenix that rises from all of these.
yeah, and she's very complex, no? Naturally,
Very,
when
very
she's made up
complex.
of so
Yes.
many people, so she'll also dispel or display all those
Yeah.
characteristics.
Characteristics. Yeah, I did feel that I was about to say that later, that Gargi is a very complex character to understand, which also makes it intriguing. Rohan, please carry on.
Yeah, sure, sure. So many things that one could, ask from this book. It's ridiculous because, when we are looking for, especially for our book club, we look for books where you can kind of, introspect a lot because otherwise it's not a
Hmm.
book club pick. It's as simple as that. So this is a typical sort of book club pick, but this paragraph I encountered in the book, and I'll just read it and then ask a follow up question regarding that. She will keep lying there and keep on crying with her breasts bursting with milk that's going waste. This is her life of pain because out there is a child she can never reach out to and let suckle again. It is this responsibility that is neither letting her live nor allowing her to die. Secretly, she enjoys her punishment because somewhere in the past, she has found a lurking guilt. She drinks and loses money to teach herself a lesson. Her road is a rut that she cannot leave. So, this comes at a point where it's a direct sort of comparison between what's going on with the elephant and what's going on at Four Chimneys and, Gargi, etc. How did you kind of co-opt all of this and kind of create this uh, comparative? I don't know if you tried to do it or it happened. I was curious about that.
Yeah, see, I was also surprised much later.
Okay.
No, I'll tell you. It was after the book was written, after it was even published, that I realized something about the elephant and Gargi, and I had not planned. I hadn't planned it, and but when you're working with some kind of logic, then there is already a plan in place. You may not be able to explain why this character is behaving in a certain manner, but but there is a logic to emotions. Now, what I discovered was that Gargi is deeply affected by her son, and the elephant is deeply affected by a calf which has remained on the hill from where the elephant hurtled down. So there suddenly I said, "Oh, what has been happening while I was writing the book? That there's this metaphor of Gargi and her teenage son, which is the opposite, exact opposite of the caring elephant and her calf. The calf is up there and she cannot die because she's worried about that calf. And here you've got Gargi, who is completely indifferent to this human calf. And that parallel kept happening. And I don't remember this passage that you read out. I don't even remember when it appears. But yeah, the reason for it would be that in my subconscious, I am actually comparing the two animals or two species uh, that are behaving very differently.
That's fascinating that unknowingly you write something. And I'm sure you must have reread the book. And I remember when we were about to do the Blood Eye podcast as well. you talked about this. You did a reread and you were like, oh my gosh, I encountered something which I don't know why I wrote this, but I encountered something. Does it happen very often?
It happens all the time.
Okay.
It happens because my characters are removed from me. Once I've started the story, they take over. And I'm saying this in all earnestness because uh, I let them be. I know a broad outline. I know this is the premise, but after that, I let them be because I know they'll behave themselves and in a certain manner that I intend. I've given them some characteristics and some traits which will make them behave naturally. So Gargi will not be very no apologetic ever. That's a trait that she carries. Now I say, okay, now do your thing. I know you as a person, and I know that you're going to behave in this manner. And similarly, the boy also surprised me when I entered his room and I said, it's all very neat. I was surprised. I said, ये तो नाटक कर रहा है. I mean, this is not the real him. That guy in his solitude, he's it's a very nice kid.
Sharp and proper, I must say.
Proper and very
Right.
wise.
So that entire episode at the breakfast was a performance then.
Yeah, it was. And he repeated it. He had done it the previous year, and because he keeps telling his mother, stop pretending, mother, ma, stop pretending, mama. And so do the guests. He tells them stop pretending. He may be the most sincere guy, the most genuine character.
Contrary to how he was introduced in the book. So
Yeah,
very strange.
and just imagine that he has been, I mean, he appeared because uh, uh, a lady told me that, a mother told me that she's sick of her alcoholic son, and I'll be happy if he's gone. And that character came from there, but he evolved in his own manner. And he does a lot of things which he might, we'll probably talk about later. Yeah.
Yes, because this is one of the aspects of the book that particularly caught my attention. So I felt that I felt this so many times in the book that Dhani behavior that made me think that so often people keep up appearances or behaviors actually to hide a lot of inner pain. That is Dhani. When you took a look inside his room, you found this guy was in control. He liked order, but still the unkept appearance, right? Still the roughness, because there was a lot of pain within him. So I would love to ask this: was this a theme that you were actually exploring when you were creating the character of Dhani?
Not overtly, but see, uh, there's a theory I have.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it might creep into any work, but there is a theory I have that the truth is not what you see, it is what you'll never know. So, even with people, I say if a person is acting, is being this, just go and see what is the opposite of this, and then come to a midpoint where you feel that, yeah, that may be the truth. So, about every person, that's how I look at people and characters and situations also. No, if somebody is very nice, overtly nice, I say he's pure evil. No, that's my first reaction. And I go back, and then I find a midpoint. I say this is where he has to be slaughtered.
See, that is why writers are so dangerous. They can analyze you like anything. I have so many writer friends, and they are like they just get you like all the time. They just know what's happening, how you are kind of maybe not being authentic. Very dangerous situation to be in.
But they're also great pretenders, no?
Yes.
So you say, okay, nice, no, platinum beard and all that must be very wise, but this is all drama.
Performance.
It is performance, no else.
But he has got Shashank has got two lives. One day he's dealing with real estate people, working for them, perhaps creating work for them, and then he's in his own world. So it's crazy, crazy stuff. Okay, uh, kind of just giving a break to Four Chimneys for a bit and asking you about your, the books you love. because this is a Book Nerds podcast, it would be great to know which books or authors you enjoy. So perhaps we can start with Anupama and then go on to Shashank. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the books that I enjoy, fiction. Okay, so in fiction, one of my favorite authors has always been John Grisham. I think a big reason for that is because while I do love reading a variety of subjects, law and legal thrillers are something that are of particular interest to me. So that is one author. And to be honest, Shashank and Rohan, I miss the times when I was not a journalist because there used to be a lot of fictional reading when I was not a journalist. And in the last few years, there's just so much factual reading and research to do for my work that it's more concentrated on factual things around the world. Yes.
This was a boon in some ways, reading this book, then, because you had to read it.
You have echoed my sentiment. I'm not even kidding about it. Truly, you know what I thought? I was like, wow, I am so glad that, I decided to do this podcast because for 2 days, I left other work and I was just immersed in this book. And it was such an amazing experience. Absolutely. You got it. That's how it was.
That's why I love my work, because most of the times you are just kind of doing something or the other. I don't know what, but you're just working, right? And
Yeah.
when a fiction book comes up, na, it just there's a glint in my eye, and I'm very happy because I know I don't have to worry about self improvement stuff and whatever. I don't have to worry about how to manage my money. What I am just happy that I'm reading
Yeah.
something. It only fiction can give you that sort of pleasure.
Yeah. Fiction has its own charm. Absolutely.
It is,
So,
and you know what? I off late, like couple of authors. Nobody asked me what are my favorite books, but
no, please tell us.
so these kind of authors. So earlier this month, yeah, last month I read these books by Parul Sharma. She's a new author, okay, and she came out of nowhere, right? I mean, she wrote this book called 17 Morris Road, and it has a lot of Dehradun in it, and it's crazy how good she is. Nobody knew about her, and all of a sudden, so similar to what Shashank does, he is just kind of coming out of nowhere and writing about the hills and creating his own towns, creating his own people, and similar to Parul. I mean, I hope they can be on a session together someday. It would be some crazy stuff. I'm telling you. You should read Parul's book. 17 Morris Road is recommended highly. On to Shang, what's the work that you enjoy?
Yeah, you asked me this earlier. No,
I did.
with Blood Hive, and I said that I don't normally recommend authors or writers because a person reads what a person wants to read. But I can tell you what not to read.
That's amazing.
I just read one book I finished, and I said it was like suicide. I was bleeding sap, and I was no completely. I said, let me just finish it. No, let me just get over it.
Okay.
So it's called Pincher Martin.
Okay.
Pincher Martin by William Golding.
Okay.
So I thought his Lord of the Flies was just brilliant, and then he goes and writes this book, and I I I was I was uh, I was bleeding. So that's what I can say. He will kill me. I mean, he's up there, but he'll still kill me.
Do you end up finishing those books? I don't read them completely.
No, I force myself to read because they're very good authors. If they're writing something, no, then it's a duty to read, the thoughts that are there. But he really troubled me.
You gave respect.
For 2 weeks.
You gave respect. Like I gave respect to, I was telling him just before the podcast that I gave a lot of respect to Mother Mary Comes to Me, Arundhati Roy's new book. And I didn't like it. I didn't get it. Maybe it was too dark for me. I don't know. There is a time also in a reader's life where you just want good stuff, like, happy stuff, coming along. So I think I read it at that point of time, and I had lost my mother. I have lost my mother recently. So I was like, oh my God, I don't want to, read all of that, this
Yeah.
relationship stuff. And I just want happy stuff. So that happens, it's the
Yeah, I
time.
think
That,
what we read has to align with where we are in life makes a lot of
Absolutely.
really,
difference.
Yeah.
that's
I
true.
would
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to read about people partying and all of that because I'm a very family oriented guy. I wouldn't enjoy it. I'd have FOMO. I want to party hard. Why not?
You
Yeah,
would
that
actually have a new term called ROMO, relief of missing out.
Yes, possibly. Possibly.
now I'll just say this: if Four Chimneys was a reference point,
Mhm.
and if there is any book that might be in on that shelf, then there's a book called The Reign of the Queen of Persia.
Okay.
The Reign of the Queen of Persia by Joan Chase.
Okay.
It's a very strange, beautiful book, and I can say read it if you feel like.
Yes.
And see Gargi transform into the Queen of Persia.
It's about a farm. It's about a
Acha.
farm, and so there's this very old lady who runs it,
Okay.
and several daughters, and what all happens. It's like this a similar sort of environment, if I can call it.
But
Mm-hmm.
Anupama, isn't Gargi so strange? She's like, she's not even enjoying others' happiness. Like when these people like Sujata and what's his name? Ratul. Or Ratul.
Ratul.
Yes,
Ratul.
Ratul.
they are happy and they are having fun and whatever. She can't be happy for them also. So it's such a testament to, where you are in your life and what you're experiencing. You can't even enjoy other people's happiness, right? In that situation.
Yeah, her
Yeah.
past reflects her or informs her reaction to other people's emotions and relationships.
Yeah. And since we are talking about Gargi, like I said, she's so complex because on the one hand, you might feel that she's emotionally very cold, which is what you're mentioning. But you also feel that she's just so deeply hurt.
Hmm.
And even when she says that she's indifferent towards her son, is she really?
Hmm. Ha.
So like I said, there's so many layers to her
Hmm.
as well,
Yeah.
which even now I'm not even sure whether Shashank had those in mind when he was creating, but it just happened organically when he was creating Gargi's character. Or how do you see Gargi yourself?
I see her as someone who goes against anything. Maybe it's because, like you said, she's seen so much in the past.
Mhm.
Her father dies unnaturally, her mother dies unnaturally, the theater company dies unnaturally, and the brother disappears out of blue. And the biggest hurt may have been the performance, the final performance they do. And that person in the audience says something. Maybe, maybe it's just that one sentence which is a death sentence for her. She 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 cannot come to terms with life after that, and she simply dissolves into nothing. And
Exactly.
yeah, and so if he, like you said, every character has all shades. There's good and
Mhm.
there's some darker bits. Then Gargi, we have to consider her given her past, but that's not an excuse.
Mhm.
She's also doing something else. We expect, now here the reader gets involved. We expect a mother or an aunt to be very generous and kind and nice and loving and everything. What the hell? I mean, they're human beings. Here's a mother who says that it's all about uh, self-preservation as well. I want my share of happiness.
Mhm.
I'm not responsible for a son who's I'm not responsible
Mhm.
for a husband who's nobody. I'm not responsible for the town that doesn't care two hoots about me. And why should I care about an elephant that has just no rolled down the hill? So it's none of my business. I'm an old woman. I may not be there in the next 2 years, and there is no afterlife. When you die, you die. These are the 10 years of my life I have. Let me live these 10 years. These assets belong to me. They don't belong to my son or my husband. They belong to me. Let me do what I want with them. So If you go by the logic, she's perfectly fine. You know, the son is grown up. Go take care of yourself. The husband is perfectly okay. Go take care of yourself. The estate belongs to me. I'll see what I need to do with it. If I want to
Yes.
gamble, I'll gamble. If I want to get drunk, I'll get drunk. Oh, if I want to misbehave, I'll misbehave. I'm 75, 80 years old. I'll do what I want. She is a character who is doing something that my mother should do too. She should
Mhm.
care for herself. She should care for her happiness. Life doesn't end at no 50, 60, 70. Life never ends. It ends when it ends. And then there is no life after that. So this is all we've got and enjoy it.
Yeah. I, yeah, I think I feel compelled to say that you have brought out such an important theme that will resonate with so many women. I can say that to you because, women are in general, and with exceptions, of course, but many times women are expected to just be so giving,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to just perform the various roles that they have: a mother, a wife, a daughter in law. And I see that also often. I can tell you that they just stop thinking about themselves. Like I say, there's this box. When they're born, the whole box is to them. And then roll one, roll two, roll three, roll four. And the space for me, Anupma, for example, is what shrinks.
Absolutely.
And what you just shared actually touches on that. And I think that's an important thought provoking idea that you
Yeah.
mentioned.
There's the person I know. No, and her husband passed away. She is now 85, I think. So I had called her just to ask her how she was. And so she said, Shashank, I have a problem. I said, yeah, tell me. I'm relieved. She said, my husband's passed away. I'm relieved. Is that natural? I said, it's absolutely natural because when my father passed away, I think my mother suddenly felt a lot of freedom. These are, there are things you can't even explain. There are these little bonds and linkages and no, all sorts of tethers that suddenly they break down and the rocket takes off. No, the rocket launch happens, and she says, I'm surprised at myself, and to be honest, I'm relieved. Said it's perfectly natural.
Yeah.
This is the truth. This is the truth about your life. You will miss your husband definitely, but there are so many things that that you in your subconscious you did not want. You did not want to make that cup of tea in the morning. You did not want to, you know, dust the table or be the one clearing the table. No, you didn't want to do that. You did it. No, it was a rut that you were part of. That happens to Gargi.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Rohan, can I ask another question?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So, this is something I was really waiting to ask you. Like I said, a recurring idea in the book has been that attachment leads to suffering. So, like the real estate agent even says that if you marry for love, you'll only suffer. But if you are indifferent as partners and but respect each other, that marriage will not cause suffering. I'm really curious to know, do you personally, as Shashank, also think that emotional detachment protects us?
I think so.
Anupama just took my question. So
I was like, when I was reading, I was so waiting to ask this.
that is a point where everybody will get kind of,
Yeah.
attracted to whatever.
Yeah, we really want to know what you think about that as Shashank, as the person.
I think so. See, I'll tell you a truth about myself. I don't have children. I know I don't have children because I didn't want children. Now, which means that do I not like children?
Mhm.
I like children. I like them a lot. I like them so much that I don't want to have children. You know.
Yeah.
Now now the thing is that if there is a friend's kid, I'm totally responsible for that kid. If there is a kid in the neighborhood giving uh, using foul language, I'll make it a point to go and say, don't do that. I feel responsible for the kid. Now, because I don't have my own, I am attached to them in a different manner. I'm detached. I don't care what happens after that interaction. I can play with children for an hour. After an hour, I say, go home. I've enjoyed you, go home.
Mm.
No, I care about you. I love you. I do all that, all those no fancy words. The day you are hurt, I'll come and help you out. But go home. Don't invade my space. When it comes to our own people, so there you're bound. You're bound by love. You may not even like that person, but you're bound by love. Liking is different. Liking is a different. It's about respect. It's about who the person is. Love is something that is thrust upon you. You're born into love. You're born as a son. You're born as a daughter. You're born as a father also. Love is something you can do nothing about. And love is so pure and it is so up there. It cannot go higher. Case it is bound to find occasions to decay. Like a radioactive substance. It will decay. It will become something else. It has to become something else. And this happens in relationships, I think. Even between a husband and a wife, that decay is important. That decay should happen. People have to change. People should change. When people don't change, no, then um, then things don't go well. I've written another book. It's called The Contractuals. So in that, my theory was that the problem with marriage, I'm sure marriage would be a top of our head. Okay, what about husband and wife? What happens in that? So I said, this is crazy. This relationships, you're not related by blood. You're not related by anything. Your history, no. You you build your history on. So what is wrong about getting married to a person? The issue is that you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's for perpetuity. Now, if you said that, oh, me, let me have it in doses, no, of 3 years, and I renew it. It expires after 3 years, then I renew it. I'm happy. I can see, no, I can behave myself. I can be, I'm ready to evolve. Both of us are ready to evolve after 3 years. That's what the contractuals are about, because this thing about being detached, being indifferent, is there in my head. It is there. I said, how can you justify a relationship for perpetuity that has the bedrock is love? How can it not decay? It has to decay.
Why does it necessarily have to decay? And why should two people not choose to be together because life is better together and be with each other till the time they feel like that? Why does it
Well,
have to decay?
it doesn't have to, but it does. It does because we don't adapt.
Many times, not always.
Because we we choose to love that person. Now there is this big seer somewhere. I've forgotten who this is about. So this lady comes to him and she says, "My husband died. I'm sad. I want him back." So he says, "Which husband? The one you married? The one after 10 years? The one after 20 years? The one after 30 years? Which one do you want back?" No, because that person was not the same person. Now he's changed to another form. He's not, he doesn't exist now. That's another form of it. So I think I'm not an expert in relationships, but I'm talking about myself. Unless we know that a person should change, is bound to change, is not going to be the same guy you married
Yeah.
or that same girl you married, things are okay. Now, what does Khaiman says that I don't know what this business of love is. I don't know. I'm a businessman. I'm going to marry you because you look like a good prospect to me. And living with you seems like a good decision. It can only get better. That's what he said. I don't know whether he's a wise guy or he's a dumbass, but that's what Cayman says, that I'm marrying you because I'm indifferent to you. But you seem to fit into some sort of a plan. As we go along, it can only get better. Right.
Yeah.
Because I have not seen love flourish and bloom to that extent ever. My answer may be completely wrong.
But
I
now
think
you
there's no wrong or right in this because the
I know.
topic we are discussing is so subjective,
I
isn't
but
it?
know.
now that Shashank has said it, on record, then this will have to trend on YouTube.
मैं तो
And the first person who will call you is going to be my wife. That's Neha will be calling you and asking you, what kind of notions do you have, sir? Why are you talking to my husband?
We need another podcast only to discuss this, Rohan. There is so much.
You know,
But
because,
yes,
like
उससे
you
पहले
said,
तो
yeah, like you said, relationship has been the most strange thing ever. It has been the strangest thing ever because it will need another podcast. But it has
yeah, exactly.
it is so strange. Like from hating each other to loving each other to man, it has seen it all. So I can totally understand what you mean by marriage is. My gosh, it is such a gamble, and it is the biggest gamble you will take in your
I
life.
think it's also why are you getting married? I mean, if people
True.
look at marriage as a social institution, then of course everything that you're saying holds true. But for me personally, for example, I can only talk for myself. Marriage is when actually two people feel so sure of each other and life is so beautiful together that that's when they get married. It's sort of
Yeah.
a romantic emotional ritual. It's not a social institution. So I think it's all about what you view marriage as.
Yeah.
That
yeah,
makes all the difference in the end. And
So
yeah,
I
don't
had
marry
no
unless you feel that for someone is what I feel.
so
that's
I had no clue. And I was like pushed into it. Like I was like, you have to do this. It's just like
Rohan, you better
engineering.
gear up, okay? Once this podcast ends,
She knows,
dude.
she knows, the strangest things have happened. And I'll tell you after the podcast. But
Sure.
yeah, but it's because I don't want to die, of course. So I will say it on the podcast. But yeah, glad. I mean, I think we have hit almost like the 1 hour mark, and it has been such an amazing conversation. And I think the conversation should carry forward with, I mean, people reading the book and telling us about what they loved about it, what they didn't like about it, entering into Shashank's world. I think this could be a good entry point and then sort of take it from there. Thank you so much, Anupama, for doing this. You are amazing. And I'm sure people who will give their YouTube comments, they'll tell us more how they like the podcast. And thank you, Shashank, for doing this. Take it time out. I know a lot of stuff is happening at your end, and you were unsure about this podcast as well, whether you would be able to do this. We were supposed to do this offline, but it happened eventually. And Anupama, thank you so much for doing this. I couldn't have thought about any other person to tackle this because it needs a lot of, maturity to tackle and read this book, especially, and understand.
That's very kind of you. And it's been an absolute pleasure both to read the book and to have this conversation. Enjoy.
thank you for taking your time, and I'm very grateful. Usually people don't listen to me.
I'm sure your
Think you,
clients have to. I'm sure your clients have to listen to you.
I think the way you've described the book and the way you've taken out time and analyzed the characters and the story, I feel I understand the book better because your perspectives, Anupama, and your they it's like a discovery for me too.
Wow.
Sir was saying, Shashank was saying that I need a woman who will understand the book better because a woman's perspective is important on this book.
Yeah.
I was like, sir, आप सीधा बोल दो ना, I will not do the podcast and we'll find someone else. He's like, no, but we
No.
found someone, the best person we could find. That's what I'm happy about.
Yeah, I'm
I'm very
glad of
humbled.
it.
Honestly, I'm very humbled, and whatever you both are saying means a lot to me. It was my privilege entirely.
Cool. Looking forward to meeting you guys in person as well soon. And yeah, guys,
And Shashank, congratulations. I'm sorry, Ron, I'm interjecting, but seriously, congratulations on the book because I feel it's a great book. I really liked reading it. Thank you.
and we guys do read the book. You can find it on Amazon, I think. And if you read it, do drop a review on Amazon and let the author know. You can email us also or tell us in the YouTube comments what you felt about it and about this podcast also. Whether you like the format, I've had a co-host, after a long time, and do let us know whether you liked it or not. And yeah, till then, happy reading and happy writing for those who intend on writing a novel or something. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.